Since 1964, drill sergeants have been responsible for training our Army's volunteer fighting force. Fort Jackson is home to the only drill sergeant academy in our Army and is responsible for providing drill sergeants to every training center across the initial military training enterprise. Since its inception, the purpose of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Program is to transform non-commissioned officers into drill sergeants, who, in turn, have the responsibility to transform civilians into soldiers, our national treasure. The thousands of American young men and women who have volunteered to answer the call of a grateful nation. The job of the drill sergeant is one of a professional trainer, coach, mentor, and leader. This is not an easy or simple job, and it comes with sacrifices that each drill sergeant must make in order to perform this extremely important mission. Those who are graduating today will spend the next 2 to 3 years on the trail, training the next generation of our Army. The phrase "on the trail" comes from the frontier days, when cattle were driven from California to Colorado to be marketed. The original drill sergeants coined this phrase because of the similar process of moving soldiers from one place to another with few problems or loss along the way. There is a continued effort to move drill sergeants to that high degree of excellence and expertise for which they are known. The drill sergeant course is both stressful and challenging. The 9 weeks of training are broken down into 12-hour days, adding up to 446 hours of instruction. This training is a privilege reserved for the best of the best. Only the top 10% of all sergeants Army-wide are eligible to attend the drill sergeant course. Not all sergeants complete this difficult period of training. On July 9th, candidates arrived. During the course, 54 sergeants were removed for various reasons, with 4 being inserted, resulting in the 95 that are graduating here today. Those graduating represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit drill sergeants who exemplify the drill sergeant creed. All 95 drill sergeants truly are the proud example of our Army and will undoubtedly transform the next generation of civilian volunteers into soldiers that are fully capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, identified by their distinctive headgear and pistol belts, are the drill sergeant leaders responsible for having trained and mentored today's graduating class. The drill sergeant leaders instruct the course in small groups of 20 candidates on average. They are highly motivated, professional, and seasoned drill sergeants who have a minimum of 1 year experience in the initial entry training environment from any of the 4 training centers and advanced individual training locations. They were hand-selected to serve as drill sergeant leaders. As a result of demonstrating expert leadership, mastery of warrior tasks and battle drills, and consistently performing at the top 1% of their peers. In addition, all have completed the TRADOC Drill Sergeant Leader Certification Program. Please join me in a round of applause for their hard work and dedication. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy, Command Sergeant Major Joshua R. Biden.
All right, team, this is a distinctive organization. We go about things very distinctively, right, with high energy level. So we're going to judge the level of energy in the room right now. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Okay, it's pretty good, right? But we don't do things pretty good here. We do things excellent. Good morning. Good morning. All right, that's better. All right, we're ready to train now. Distinguished guests, Colonel Edwards, I just want to remind you that the Ohio State University of the national champs. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. Command Sergeant Major Nieves, all right, good morning. Welcome. Families, friends, thank you today for joining us for the Drill Sergeant Academy graduation ceremony for Class 01825. From the attendance today, it is clear these drill sergeants have amazing families and friends supporting them. Hey, what a great day to be a soldier. And an even better day to be here, surrounded by the future of the United States Army, represented by the Army's newest drill sergeants. The fact that the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy is the gold standard for NCO development cadre certification is clearly on display today. My name is Command Sergeant Major Josh Beidel. I am the Commandant, proudly serving alongside the most highly motivated and well-trained drill sergeants in the United States Army. A drill sergeant is the standard bearer for the United States Army and the very epitome of what we expect of every soldier. Drill sergeants are expected to live the Army values, exemplify the warrior ethos, and be guardians of the Army profession. Drill sergeants are responsible for coaching, teaching, motivating, inspiring, and mentoring the future of the Army as they transform them from civilians to American soldiers. A typical day as a drill sergeant starts well before dawn and ends after sundown. Drill sergeants are the first impression for every trainee and all that they know of the Army. They will emulate. Being a drill sergeant was one of the most difficult jobs in our Army, and is also one of the most rewarding. How critical a drill sergeant is to our Army cannot be overstated, nor can the sacred trust that is being bestowed on you today. American families all across this great land entrust you with the most important thing in their lives, their children. The future of America is being placed in your care for the most formative time in their Army careers. Your impact will last a lifetime. Just as you remember your drill sergeants, Command Sergeant Major retired Roderick McCottrell, and Sergeant First Class retired Ronnie Bush, just in case if you're wondering if the Commandant remembered his 29 years ago. They will remember you, just like you remember yours. Will you be remembered for how you invested in them, believed in them when they didn't believe in themselves, always enforce the standard and challenge them to keep going? Or will you be remembered for something else? Class 01825, congratulations on accomplishing this daunting challenge. You met or exceeded every standard. You surmounted every obstacle. But the challenge is just beginning. Enjoy the time between now and when you report. Take time to reflect on the challenge that lies ahead and what you hope to achieve. There will be times when you are tired, hot, cold, hungry, and more. Look to your battle buddies during these times and spur one another along. Your experience as a drill sergeant will be directly impacted, positively or negatively, by the battle buddies you have and the one you are. The task is great. You are charged with nothing less than training tomorrow's leaders. The Army, the country, and the Constitution are depending on you. Today's guest speaker is Command Sergeant Major Kim Nieves, soon to be retired, but we made sure that she had one more opportunity to divest all of this incredible experience and knowledge she's learned in her about 25 years, 26 probably by the time it's all said and done, her remarkable career. Completed basic training right here 25 years ago, Fort Jackson, and finished her training at the Naval Ophthalmic Support and Training Activity. And I just put that in there because I have no idea what they do there. I'm not even sure what ophthalmic means. I think it means that she's in the optometry field back in the day, but I'm just a dad, so no telling if I'm right. She has held every staff and leadership position from Clinic NCOIC to her most recent position as the Moncrief Army Health Clinic Command Sergeant Major. The long list of assignments in her numerous organizations demonstrate exceptional performance, character, and stewardship of the profession. Please join me in welcoming Command Sergeant Major Kim Nieves.
Good morning, Colonel Edwards, Command Sergeant Major Vital, Sergeant Major Palmer, distinguished guests, cadre, family members, and most importantly, Class 018-35, the newest drill sergeants of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your guest speaker today. First, congratulations. You have just completed one of the toughest and most transformative schools in our Army. The long nights, the constant pressure, the never-ending demand for precision, it all brought you here to this moment. You now join an elite group entrusted with a mission unlike any other. But today is not just about what you accomplished. Today is about the mission that begins the moment you put on that hat and badge for the first time. From this day forward, your purpose is no longer centered on you. Your focus shifts to something greater. The civilians stepping off the buses, wide-eyed and unsure, who will depend on you to shape them into soldiers. General George C. Marshall once said, "The soldier's heart, the soldier's spirit, the soldier's soul are everything." And you, drill sergeants, are charged with building that spirit, forging that soul, and instilling the discipline that will carry these soldiers across every obstacle. They will come to you untested, often lacking confidence, sometimes even questioning whether they belong here at all. And it will be you, through your discipline, your example, your words, and your standards, who will transform them. You will show them what right looks like. You will demand from them what they did not think they could give. And in the process, you will change the trajectory of their lives. That is the sacred trust of the drill sergeant. But make no mistake, this transformation comes with a cost. You will sacrifice countless hours before sunrise, long after sunset, and those hours are not only taken from you, but from the ones who love you most. To the families here today, thank you. Thank you for sharing your loved one with the Army once again. The time that they give on the drill pad, the barracks, and the ranges comes at the expense of dinners missed, birthdays absent, and quiet moments at home. Your sacrifice is invisible to many, but is essential to all. And to the drill sergeants, I challenge you, never forget the gift your families give, so you can give yourself fully to this mission. There is another truth that you must carry with you as you leave here. You cannot do this job alone. The trail will test you in ways you cannot yet imagine. The weight of responsibility will feel heavy. The long hours, the endless demands, the emotional toll of carrying soldiers forward, it will wear you down. It will wear on you. But look to your left and your right. Your fellow drill sergeants will be your strength. They will share the burden, push you when you are tired, and remind you why you are here when the days feel long. Lean on them, trust them, and never forget, you are not in this fight alone. Drill sergeants, the hat you wear is more than a symbol. It is a promise. A promise that you will enforce standards without compromise. A promise that you will lead with integrity, strength, and humility. A promise that you will care enough to be demanding, and be demanding because you care. In the years ahead, the soldiers you will train will face challenges far beyond basic training. Combat deployments, long separations, moments of fear and doubt. When those moments come, they will hear your voice. They will remember the discipline you instilled, the example you set, and the belief you had in them, even when they doubted themselves. That is the impact of a drill sergeant. So I leave with you 3 charges as you step into the sacred role. Remember, it is no longer about you. It is about the civilians who will arrive in your formation and the soldiers they must become. Honor your families. They will sacrifice right alongside you. Stay grounded in their love and make the time you have with them count. Rely on your fellow drill sergeants. Alone, this mission will break you. Together, it will strengthen you and carry you forward. Drill sergeants, the Army has trusted you with its most precious asset, its people. Wear the hat with humility, carry the badge with pride, and never forget the impact that you will make. Demand the best because you care enough to not accept less. And never forget, the future of the Army begins with you. Immortals, congratulations. This would have been victory.
Starts here!
Drill and ceremony is the basis for standards and discipline in the initial entry training environment. During the course, the drill sergeant candidates are instructed and assessed on their ability to perform and teach drill and ceremony positions and movements, culminating with a drill and ceremony competition. The squad that displayed the highest level of proficiency is awarded the drill and ceremony trophy to be displayed until the following cycle. For Class 018-25, the drill and ceremony competition winner is 6th Platoon, 4th Squad, who was led by Drill Sergeant Joshua M. Roman. Please join me in a round of applause for the winning squad of the drill and ceremony competition. At the Drill Sergeant Academy, it is tradition to appropriately recognize those who distinguish themselves by their outstanding performance. In keeping with this tradition, the following awards are presented. The Drill Sergeant Leader of this cycle is a drill sergeant who displayed the highest contribution to the entire platoon, created an impeccable learning environment, and displayed a standard for all graduating drill sergeants to follow. For Class 018-25, the Drill Sergeant Leader of the cycle is Deputy Senior Drill Sergeant Leader Tremaine Reeves, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. At this time, First Command will present the Drill Sergeant Leader of the cycle with a gift for their outstanding leadership. Once more, please join me in another round of applause for the Drill Sergeant Leader of the cycle. The following drill sergeant exceeded course standards, demonstrated exceptional physical fitness, and maintained the highest grade point average of his graduating class. For these achievements, he is the Distinguished Honor Graduate, Drill Sergeant Daniel R. Capchuno, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Leader Williams will now present the graduating class of distinctive headgear. Please hold your applause and cheering until all awardees have been acknowledged. The Leadership Award is presented to the candidate who displayed the highest degree of professionalism and demonstrated sound judgment while performing in leadership positions. The Leadership Awardee recipient and member of the Commandant's List is again Drill Sergeant Daniel R. Capchunos, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award is given to the candidates who displayed the highest degree of physical fitness during the Iron Drill Sergeant Fitness Test. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award recipient is Drill Sergeant Tyler Wade, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, with a score of 495. Each awardee will receive a token for exceeding the standards while in the course. Please join me in a round of applause for our awardees. The following drill sergeants exceeded course standards, demonstrated exceptional physical fitness, and maintained a grade point average in the top 20% of their graduating class. For these achievements, they are rightfully placed on the Commandant's list. Drill Sergeant Matthew Abrams, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Elijah Pierce, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Sean Hollenkamp, Fort Dix, New Jersey. Drill Sergeant Maya Metzger, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant Joshua Roman, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Brian Winkleman, 108th Training Command. Please join me in a round of applause for the Commandant's list. Ladies and gentlemen, the following drill sergeants are graduates of the class 018-25. Please hold your applause and cheering until the last drill sergeant is acknowledged.
Drill Sergeant Tristan Adams, Presidio, Monterey, California.
Drill Sergeant Charles Atkins, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Doug Augusto, Rancho Mesquite, Puerto Rico. Eduardo Jalambó. Fuerza Messi, Puerto Rico.
Drill Sergeant Martin Chavez, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Francisco Cisneros, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Taylor Clark, Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
Drill Sergeant Ryan Cole, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Brennan Conway, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Ioannis Kuko, 108 Training Command.
Drill Sergeant Brandon Decker, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Javier de las Traviesas, Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Hunter Dupree, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Hank Evans, Fort Leonard, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Giovanni Esparza, Presidio, Monterey, California. Drill Sergeant Juan Espinosa, 108 Training Command.
Drill Sergeant Walenta Evans, Fort Lee, Virginia.
Drill Sergeant Tyler Bassett, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Taya Physics, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Drill Sergeant Brittany Gale, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Troy Deere, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Kevin Giebelhouse, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Johnson A. Harris, Fort Lee, Virginia.
Drill Sergeant Isaiah Lerma, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Zero. Drill Sergeant Christian Italian, Belihi, Hawaii. Drill Sergeant Hector Lopez, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Brandon Lloyd, Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
Drill Sergeant Steve Lugo, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Donovan Lee, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Joseph Mahoney Belstracci, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Joshua Malone, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Jasmine Massey Ignatowski, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Haley McCormick, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Jaylene Mendez, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Aldo Mercado, 108 Training Command.
Drill Sergeant Lydia Miramontes, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Justin Moon, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Tanya Moore, 108 Training Command.
Drill Sergeant Andrew Morales, Fort San Houston, Texas. Drill Sergeant Danny Muhammad, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Joshua Olson, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Omar Ortiz, 1st MSC, Puerto Rico.
Drill Sergeant Anthony Payne, Fort Benning, Georgia. Cristian Reyes, First Embassy, Puerto Rico.
Drill Sergeant Calvin Rogers, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Buddy Rogers, Phoenix, Arizona.
Drill Sergeant Joel Rosario, Fort St. Houston, Texas.
Drill Sergeant Abigail Rosenberger, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Austin Russell, Fort Leavenworth, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Pete Russell, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Drill Sergeant Alexander Russo, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Drew Secoy, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Drill Sergeant Josiah Smith, Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
That's my baby.
Drill Sergeant Brian Smith, Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
Drill Sergeant Mary Tate, Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Joseph Taylor, Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Drill Sergeant Zachary Whittier, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Nicholas Velez, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Brent Van Zandt, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Sergeant Joshua Wheaton, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the Army's newest drill sergeant. At this time, leadership awardee Drill Sergeant Capuchinos will present a token of appreciation to the guest speaker, Command Sergeant Major Nieves. You have become what you set out to be, a drill sergeant in the United States Army. This drill sergeant creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and continue to guarantee. At this time, drill sergeants past and present, please stand as the drill sergeant leader of this cycle, Deputy Senior Drill Sergeant Leader Reeves, leads the graduating class in reciting the Drill Sergeant Creed. The Drill Sergeant Creed is not a creed for every non-commissioned officer in the Army. The honor and privilege is given to these non-commissioned officers to transform America's sons and daughters from civilians to soldiers, to fight and win the wars of this great nation.
Yes, well, defend. I'm a drill sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song and remain standing for the departure of the official party.